afternoon and welcome to another Super Secret Project sketch. This is Eric Whalen from Super Secret Project X, and I am on it because we already got somebody commenting, "Hey man, how's it going? What's up with you crazy savages? Heard you lost a food war pretty soundly. How are you healing up?" Alright, so I still technically have a tip to my finger, and I gotta say, I grew up with MacGyver. MacGyver's great. MacGyver has a Swiss Army knife, which is made by the same company that makes the kill blade that took off the end of my finger. So I'm sitting here at home going like, I'm going to clean this nearly Swiss Army knife-like blade and watch the end of my finger come right off. I tell you what, I don't remember feeling it. I still have memories of what that looked like haunting me. However, as it's going right now, I'm healing up pretty darn good. And frankly, there's a certain level of fun with having like a little bandaged finger. It feels like I've had an adventure.
So technically,
a sad adventure with a kitchen knife ending up in the emergency room. But today, see, I mean, I can even do this. I mean, seriously, it doesn't hurt. It tingles a little bit every once in a while, but I've literally had worse. But I tell you what, I visually haven't had worse. Just watching the tip of my finger come off was memorable. Memorable. All right, today we are going to, because we recently finished it up, finally, I realize we are like years behind on everything. Star vs. the Forces of Evil. Great story. I laughed a lot. Like, a lot. Like, I ended up really liking that show. So we're going to do Star today. This is actually what I find funny. How styles are different. Okay, so Sailor Moon, classically drawn. She's 14. Star is 14. They look nothing alike. They're the same age. And now I'm just trying to imagine what Star Butterfly looks like in the original Sailor Moon style. I would imagine far taller and far leggier would be my assumption.
well, I mean, considering, and this is spoilers for those of you who haven't seen it by this time, which, if you haven't seen it by this time, like us, then too late. She would look like the one who turned out to be the villain chick, because she was actually modeled off of Sailor Moon.
Mina.
Yeah, Mina, yeah.
Yeah, it's so she even had the little steam bun things on her head. But yeah, no, it's I really knew nothing about Star other than a lot of people were like, "Dude, watch it," and I'm like, "Dude, it's on the list. We'll get to it." So we finally got to it, and I literally watched it and went, "Oh my god, it's the American version of literally a Magical Girl series." I was like, "Oh, this is so much fun." And you could just see all the there wasn't like there was tons of it, but there was enough of it where it was so clear that they were fans of the Japanese Magical Girl stuff, and the American version of a Magical Girl series is just so ridiculous.
And the lady who the creator who created the show,
She did a great job.
she's a anime fan, and her original,
You can tell.
Yeah, her original concept of the show was about a second grade girl who loved Sailor Moon, and her nemesis was a second grade boy who loved Dragon Ball.
Nice. This, I think, turned out a little better. I mean, that sounds like that would be funny, but everything they did with Star, I thought, was great.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, and I'm not going to say, it has nothing to do with the creator. I'm saying that a lot of what was great about it was the voice actors brought a lot to that game.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was. I actually watched a couple episodes years ago, and just never got back to watching it, because after that we got Disney Channel, or Toon Disney or whatever it became and stuff. We got it got removed off of our cable package, and then we just got rid of cable altogether. So I couldn't find the rest of it up until like other than like other sites and stuff. But yeah, the couple episodes that I watched was actually really funny. One of the clips I remember was the one where Marco gets the tentacle arm.
That was good.
And that whole that one section, the one scene where the girl, when they were looking at when Marco,
my God, she wanted to date his tentacle arm.
That was.
I was just like, are you kidding me?
And then the second layer of that joke was the nerdy fanboy, the sparkle in his eye when the girl was like, I want to date your tentacle arm, and the look on his face as his.
Oh, I know. My favorite, and that was good, but my favorite, and I loved this moment, was the whole bit with the possum statue.
Oh, yes.
And they're like, and the one girl was like, where am I going to find another kissing hole? And everyone's like, what? You know, for practicing kissing. And she was right at the back end of the possum, and the guy next to her just went, did one of those, and I'm like, oh my God. Oh, how good. Oh, wow, that is so nasty. And so funny. And I just couldn't stop laughing. I just couldn't stop.
Yeah, the layered jokes that they had on those were really good. And, I mean, and the all-out ones were great too. The first and second season, in my opinion, were really, really great, and I love the animation. And then the animation quality dropped third and fourth season, but the story became more sequential, which I didn't mind. I just wish they.
I still think it was
yeah.
well done. That's my point. Is it dropped a little, but it still never went below a certain level.
Yeah, it was still good, but it was, to me, I would have loved to have seen a lot of that story kept up with the animation, because the animation in the first and second season was just so fluid and fast and really just dynamic, and and I unfortunately I probably have to look up and see as to what happened with the third and fourth season as to why there was a bit of a quality drop. But I mean, still,
ratings might have dropped a little bit, and they made a deal going like, oh, we'll take a little bit less money if that means we can keep going.
Yeah, possibly.
Which I think is fine.
Yeah, I mean, she had a story to tell, and she told it, and she told it very well. It was, it was a lot of fun to me. I had several friends that were telling us, y'all gotta watch this, and they were telling us about it. Okay, like you said, we put it on the list, and we're gonna get to it. But yeah, I'm finally glad we finally did, because yeah, it was a fun.
It
one.
was a good show. I will rewatch that again.
Mm-hmm.
And it just had moments in it where my mouth just fell open, like, wow, that is a dirty joke, or wow, how many kids are going to get that, or you know, out of my way, lovely man. You know, the whole bit where she bumps into like 35-year-old Marco and.
Yeah, that whole thing, I was absolutely surprised with that. Because him going to a different dimension and aging and all, and becoming the 30-year-old hunter, the dimension hunter and stuff, and then her popping up and just completely just slobbering all over him, and then add with that his
barbarian lady,
the barbarian chick. And when they were,
she's slobbering over her too. I was like, this is amazing. Well,
stars equal opportunity.
Well, my favorite moment, because I went, wait a minute, because it wasn't like they were faking it. They just came out and said it. Mm-hmm. Marco's ex-girlfriend, when she went to France, discovered she was a lesbian.
Oh yeah.
And they were so open in the show about it, where they were. She's like, no, Marco, actually, you were a pretty average guy. I mean, you weren't great, you weren't bad. Mm-hmm. But when I went to France, I found out a couple things about myself. And there's a French girl hanging off her arm, and it just keeps going, and I'm going like, oh, wow. Wow. The world is the world has changed. Very good. I realize the world has changed. Everyone younger than me knows that, but when I was a kid, it just didn't seem like those things were going to change.
Yeah.
And they did, and thank you. Because I was going like, wow, there you go. Freaking fabulous.
If I remember the history of that one, that scene with Jenna and the French chick. Jenna was that?
No, Jenna was
the crazy.
Was the sociopath friend. Yeah.
The ex-girlfriend. That was actually Disney's first animated gay scene or gay scene on screen and stuff. So I was like, huh. And apparently they kind of had to fight to get that, but.
Well, and the thing was, is and I keep saying it. If somebody has a problem with it, that's their business. But do you really want to raise your kids with no knowledge of how the world works?
Yes, people do.
But that's what I'm saying is that actually really wise of you to do that? Fine, you have an objection. That's your business. I don't agree, but then are you going to put your kids into a situation where they don't even remotely realize what is in the world? Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm like, just put the stuff where people can see it, then, because there are gay people in the world. Yeah. Crazy, I know. Yeah. And just let them be, and let kids understand that this is simply reality. It is.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, when it stops getting treated as something special,
it will cease to be special. Yeah, it's just make it normal.
Yeah, you want to see representation where it needs to be seen and stuff. It's like put it in cartoons because it's like a.
Well, that's actually what's really funny is everyone making a big deal about banning books and stuff in school libraries and this and that. Then those same people aren't noticing what's playing in the kids' cartoons, like the things that most kids are actually paying attention to. It's like, well, there's this book with gay people in the school library. It's like, you realize more kids watch afternoon cartoons or whatever. Afternoon cartoons, I'm sure I just dated myself. Over the handful of kids that checked that book out in the library.
It depends.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I'm speaking pure numbers. I'm not saying kids don't read books. I'm saying I'm speaking pure numbers.
Yeah, but I'm saying I'm not disagreeing with you now. I'm saying depending on, because wow, my brain just completely farted on that one.
So I can't help you finish your thought.
Yep, brain just completely farted. Never mind. But yeah.
My baby just degassed.
Yeah, I've just been so tired and just out of it today.
Yes, you have.
I'm having trouble just thinking. But yeah, and the easiest thing for parents who don't want that content, well, guess what? Don't look at it. Don't bring it into your house. Simple as that. Of course, you're doing your kid a disservice.
You're doing them a disservice. Yeah.
But if you really feel that strongly about it, then don't do it for your kid. Don't sit there and take it out for everyone else's kid.
Yeah. I can't believe it's in the library. It better be in the library. It's a public library, or it's a school library. But yeah, but when it's like sitting there on Star versus the Forces of Evil, and every show that's now starting to just go like, oh no, here's a little bit here, here's a little. It's like, okay, well, are you paying attention to what's on TV? I'm just saying that, like, you're worried about one book in the library or whatever, and meanwhile, I'm watching the scene with his ex-girlfriend, going like, that is amazing, that is amazing.
And the thing is, it's like,
I'm fairly certain I was doing this while that scene was playing. Wait a minute. They're not gonna. Oh, wow, they did. Yeah, right on.
And it wasn't like out. It wasn't just like this crazy. Hey, look at the gays.
No, it was just simply done well.
Yeah, it was just a nice, simple scene of, yep, this is what happened. It's cool, bro.
I just love the little, I learned something about myself when I went to France. It was like, oh, that's so funny. Okay, here we have one comment, and here's the problem. I'm not sure what he's referring to. It was overly subtle to make it funny.
I think it was one of the comments we made a little while back.
Oh, I'm sure. The problem is I'm not sure when that popped up. Sorry, dude. I'm trying to be better. Answering the comments when they pop up. If they pop up. I'm fairly certain we still have people commenting from time to time that isn't showing up. Okay. But yeah, no, I very much enjoyed. Oh my God, the episode where Marco takes his little sister out, and everybody thinks that he got his 14-year-old girlfriend pregnant.
15 at
15,
the time, yeah.
15-year-old, whatever,
Yeah,
still.
yeah,
and
still, yeah.
and it was just constant rolling joke of two 15-year-olds having a kid, and he's walking his baby daughter around. I'm going like...
And the funny thing is, everyone was so chill about it.
And everyone was like, right on, Marco, way to get some. And I'm going like, really? Like, that is funny. That is so funny. I was laughing. My feeling is it wasn't in the script, and then somebody like in the storyboarding went, hey dude, this would be funny if... And then the joke just kept rolling, and then amazingly they got it like through their sensors or whatever. No, it's my little sister. Marco, right on, getting busy. It's my little sister. It's just like, oh my God.
Yeah, I was laughing pretty good at that one, yeah. Like, everyone was just like, yeah, okay. It's like the place has like no judgment whatsoever. They're like, yeah, it's cool.
It's just like, man, I could not stop laughing. I'm like, are they going to keep doing it? Oh my God, they're going to keep doing it.
It's my baby sister.
Oh, that's so funny.
Which heck, even with that, the fact that the parents basically had another baby to replace him. Because they were just like, well, we didn't know when you were coming back. You're like, dude, that's a 15-year-old age gap between him and his baby sister.
Okay, see, this is the difference in many ways of when I was a kid to what it's like now. I'm certain there were shows where they were going like, don't make it seem as if the parents had sex and had a kid. Just cover it up and just say it happened. And now it's at the point where they're like, hey, Marco, we got it on. Here's your baby sister. And then he takes his baby sister out and everyone's like, hey, Marco, you've been getting it on with your 15-year-old girlfriend? I'm like, oh my God, no! You did not just do that! I am loving new cartoons. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, that's... And,
Oh my God, I just could not stop
and
laughing.
that show's like, what, 5 or 6 years old now? Probably old. I think older
Yeah.
than that, actually.
Yeah, like I said, we were behind on watching it, but...
Well, yeah, but the fact that they were doing that, like, it was...
Period.
Yeah, that was good. And at that time, I was like, well, good. Yeah,
Well, I'm just liking the level of comparative maturity that is being used. You're not treating kids like they're stupid, and you're not treating all these subjects like they're just these precious things that the parents can't have sex, even though the kids are right there and like, well, obviously they had at some point.
Yeah.
And like, there's people living in the world that are like, yeah, that's how kids happen. Why are you guys? Why aren't you guys having just a sense of humor about it, or just simply mention that it happens?
It never...
Especially because, well, Marco's mom is hot, and you're just going like, what? Seriously? You're saying that they're like saintly or something, and they're seriously? Okay, whatever.
Yeah, I've never stopped being amazed, or more amused at this point, of the amount of people who just refuse to like to even acknowledge the fact of sex being something that kids should at least on the very baseline knowledge
On a
understand.
human level. I'm
mean-
not saying show them porn. I'm just saying be on. It's a human function.
When I worked at the comic shop, the amount of people who would come in very proud, oh, my little so and so is at a several grades higher reading level, and I'm looking for something to challenge them. Like, all right, well, what about this Walking Dead thing? Oh, that's a lot of violence. Oh, but that's okay. Well, people are like getting mutilated and hurt and killed. That's perfectly fine. There's a couple of sex scenes and a rape scene. Oh, I don't want that.
Sex. Oh,
Yeah. Oh,
you're
that's
like
probably not good.
the
I'm like,
mutilation is fine, but not people loving each other.
yeah.
Really?
That literally happened
Okay.
like, more times than I can. I'm just like, wow. Okay then.
What?
I mean, there were like, because I made it a goal to understand, and especially with because my area basically was the children's section to keep as far as like I put it upon myself to learn a lot of the kid stuff, because a lot of the kid stuff was just absolutely amazing to read and fun to read.
Yeah,
and
there's
all
good
that.
kid stuff out there.
Yeah, kid stuff and the young adult stuff, and then of course the the mainline comic stuff too. But yeah, it's like I would have parents come in and, well, this doesn't have any sex or kissing in it, does it? I'm like,
Or kissing? Did
Yeah.
you just say kissing?
yes, for the youngins. I'm just like, so you're
There are entrails being pulled out and fed into a wood chipper. Oh, that's fine for little Timmy, but there's no kissing, right?
yeah, and
What is wrong with people?
what the one that got me, and I actually bit my tongue from asking this, was a mother asking for her, I think 5 or 6 year old, a book. It was like one of the younger reader books, and it was a fun action book. And there was a couple scenes where they would like the characters would kiss each other, so because that was part of the story. Oh, I'm not too sure about what them kissing in it, and I had to bite my tongue. I'm just like, so your kid doesn't see you kissing your husband?
That's what I'm saying. I'm again, I am doubling up on this. I am not saying show kids porn.
Yeah,
They don't see their parents kissing.
yeah.
They don't realize. Okay, I don't know about you, but I had the starts of sex education in 6th grade, meaning I generally understood what was going on. And that would have been back in the freaking 80s. So when people are acting like that, I'm going like, again, I'm not saying show them inappropriate stuff. But to sit there and go like, oh, there's a kissy? There's a kissy in this story.
Yeah, I mean,
and you're like, what?
And not even on
Why
the-
is that a problem for you?
And not even on the intimate front. It's like, you've never kissed your kid on the cheek?
Uh,
Or your kid never like kissed you and hugged you and stuff?
that's
Like,
what I'm saying. It's just like people do that stuff.
Yeah, I had to bite my tongue, because I was really about to ask that. I'm just like, nope, I'm not going to turn this into a thing. So I just let them know, that, like, well, yeah, there's a couple of kisses, but they're very cute and just friendly. It's like that's part of the story.
That's not a
Yeah.
peck on the cheek.
Yeah, and
That's
then-
obscene.
Yeah, and I told them, it's like, that's not part of this. That's part of the story, but that's not the focus. And yeah, I sold them the book, and I encouraged them, please, like, read along with your child in case they have questions and stuff. It's like,
But
so it's like, yeah,
that's the point,
yeah,
right?
Right, and I had to show her.
So you can be there for your kid to explain about what reality is so they can be ready for it when they get there.
Right, and that's something that I always try to encourage with parents and stuff. Is like, if you're going to buy something for your child, whatever their reading skill, like, at least take a few pages and read it with them and stuff. And so kids, like most kids or kids who love to read, will go off into their little nooks and they read stuff.
Yeah.
So no, I did as a kid. But on the same note, my mom did read with me, and my dad occasionally and stuff. My dad's reading is us sitting in his recliner together, us flipping through the TV guide. And I absolutely love that and stuff. And then my mom, she would read with me also, because she was a teacher, so good. That was kind of her thing and stuff. And plus, well, she loved her kids. Wanted
Well,
her kids to be well read.
I just wonder what happens when they get to that point in their life where they're like, I don't understand why my child never talks to me about stuff. I mean, I only made sure that they understood that everything was unacceptable and I didn't want them asking about it. It's like, what are you doing?
I actually have like several things. One of the threads I was reading through online a couple of days ago was talking about that, and it was such a sad thing. But I'm not going to go into it because we're not talking about Star at that point anymore. So.
Oh, we're not now.
Yeah, but if I were to start talking about that thread, we'd go further off. So
Okay.
I'm not going to. I'll tell you about it later. But yeah, it's just trying to weave the conversation back to the show.
Well,
now. But yeah, it's like just being able to just be there for your kids, watch the show with them, explain to them the stuff.
Sure.
And I mean,
Well,
it's
for
at the
example,
time.
one of my favorite bits, and I really mean this, and I'm not saying this in some weird way, I just thought it was really, really funny. Princess Turdina. I love the fact that Marco has a secondary kind of version of himself, and it's a pretty princess. And he uses it to start a revolution amongst the other princesses. And it's so funny that there's like there's people out there that are like, oh, Princess Turdina, she's so lovely. And it's this boyish boy who's like this karate kid who puts on a wig and a dress. Whatever. People have an issue. Whatever. Me, personally, I was just going like, this is funny. This is really, really funny, you know.
And to me, even like to add on to that, I was still amused with the fact that they let the word turd go in there for so long.
Earth turd.
Hey, okay, Earth turd.
Princess Tardina. Oh my God, it was such a good show.
And once again, Disney failed on the merchandising aspect.
Of course they did, because
by
Disney
not-
doesn't have a freaking clue what
by
they're
not
doing.
giving us laser puppies with when you squeeze them, their eyes light up.
No joke.
I mean, heck, if you thought kids would be weirded out by glowing red puppies, okay, fine. Then give me a keychain. Y'all make squeezable keychains. Make a keychain with like glowing red eyes. That's hilarious. You don't even have to be red. Just make them like rainbow or something. I mean, the statue I showed you earlier, or the two statues, those are being made by a fan artist over in Russia. It's like, why in the world we aren't getting that stuff? I mean,
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like, I don't get Disney. I just don't. They don't make any sense to me. They go and they create all these wonderful licenses and characters and stuff. And then, and isn't their point to make money? Isn't that their function, is to make money? And so they create all this stuff, and then they go, you know what? Let's not make money on this. And you're like, what are you doing? Why would you? Do you realize how many people out there would love to have the intellectual property rights to be able to make products for this stuff? And you're just openly going like, let's not do that.
The most baseline thing for little kids, and not for the people who actually have money and want the stuff. We want the kids to clamor and beg their parents. We don't want to make the stuff that their parents may want, or that their teenage kids may want. Or
I think they need to really make both.
Yeah,
all they need to do is make sure that kids get what they want, because a number one for me is make sure the kids get what they want.
initially
No
for the
ifs,
kids,
ands, or
yes.
buts. And then you create like, for every 10 things for kids, give me one good quality thing as an adult that I can go like, wow, that's really nice. I might want to consider doing that. Yada, yada. Because, you know, they've got great characters and stuff, and then they kind of go out of their way to go like, yeah, let's not sell stuff to people who want to give us, you know, money. And it's really weird that they do that.
Yeah, it's like with Encanto. And I know you haven't seen that yet, but the three sisters, the main girl, Mirabel, Mirabel, and her two sisters, her older sister and she's the youngest, so her two older sisters. The oldest sister is the super pretty, perfect one, and then the middle sister is the big, strong one. And Disney made all the merch of the pretty princess one because they thought little girls were going to want the pretty princess. And no, all the kids wanted the stronger. Her name was Louisa. Wanted Louisa's merch because they wanted to be the strong, powerful girl. And so they're sitting on all this. And I'm blanking on the oldest daughter, the princess. I'm blanking on her name. I'm gonna look it up real quick. But Louisa, they didn't make hardly any merch of her, and so now they're like scrambling trying to find and make stuff because that's what people and the kids wanted. And it's like, weren't y'all even paying attention to what you made?
Yeah, I'll be very honest. I have not seen it yet clearly, but the big image when it pops up on Disney Plus, the big image, I only have outside of the quirky, chubby, smiley girl up front.
Yeah, that's me.
Which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that design. I mean, I clearly remember it. But what sticks in my mind is this She-Hulk of a chick in the background. I'm going like, who's that? That looks like a great character. Who is that? And so I end up like looking at stuff going like, and meanwhile Disney just goes like, okay, well here's our formula. We've got the princess character, and that's where, and you just get them going like, guys, just think about what you're doing. Stop. And how do I know they're formulaic? I used to work with a Disney animator. He literally knew all the category. You'd mention a movie, and he goes, oh, that's the blank, the blank, the blank, the blank, the blank. What about this movie? It's the blank, the blank, the blank, the blank, the blank. Oh, this is, and it was just categorically they would stick tab A into slot B every single time. And it would just be like, there's a reason why I don't really usually get excited about Disney, because it's just like, oh, this again. Zootopia was the one where they tricked me, because I was going like, oh my god, this is good. How did this come out of Disney? This is amazing. This is if not nearly, this is at Pixar level. This is good. And then they went right back to the same old, just dumb, seen it 1,000 times kind of thing.
Well, they're going back and forth now because we have Turning Red coming out. The one I showed you with the red.
That looks promising.
Yeah, that looks
kind of interesting.
But yeah, it's funny now. How other studios are now seeing that, hey, people like funny animal stories. Which I know we're going off tangent here, but was it DreamWorks, the one bad guy, the trailer I showed you with the wolf. It's like the Ocean's 11 type story. With the wolf.
Yes.
Speaking of like Zootopia and stuff, but again going off tangent. But yeah, with Disney, or with especially with Encanto, I mean, Isabella was the oldest daughter's name. And I mean, and I loved her. I liked all of their character designs because Mirabel, she was the cute, chubby, nerdy girl. I loved the way that they drew her. I liked Isabella's design because she was the classic pretty princess type, and I love Louisa's design because she literally was just the big, strong, just like you said, the Hulk back there. And what cracked me up about that was the character designers actually had to fight to get that design because they wanted her to be slim and classically pretty also. But they're like, no, if she's the strong woman, she should be a strong woman. we need to have body differences, just like Renee said. Just as we have all of these different types of people when it comes to their bodies and their looks and all and hair, like we have all this glorious technology and we can't make a different body type. Really?
That's what I'm saying. Especially because they clearly are, Pixar's part of that whole thing. And you go over to Pixar, and I'm not saying everything Pixar does is perfect, but I look at Pixar and I go, everything Pixar is doing is what Disney should be doing. It's that simple.
Which is probably why Disney isn't doing it, because they want to keep the Disney thing going, and Pixar is their own thing, which I kind of appreciate
Disney.
that.
By trademark, we suck. We've limited ourselves through a lack of imagination. If you asked my younger self if that was ever going to be the case with Disney, I would have been like, never. And now you just look at it and you're like, oh, it's so creatives are literally tooth and nail fighting to get anything interesting to happen. I mean, and meanwhile, at Pixar, you get films that make full-grown men cry. And then you find out that, oh, by the way, we actually cut the scenes back because they were too hard for people to watch. That takes guts to create movies like that, especially animated in America. And then Disney goes like, well, we just gotta make sure it has a pretty, pretty princess in it. I mean, that's just two completely opposing views.
And I think Disney, and to speak positive upon them, they're closing in on the gap. They're doing
I hope so, because
yeah.
I still love the idea of them.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, they're doing their best, and the new crop of animators and story writers that have been coming in have been slowly just making things better.
Slowly killing the executives off and replacing them with animatronic puppets that do the will of the creatives below. I'm not saying to actually do that. I'm just simply saying I would like to see that movie. Let's put some of those Disney animatronics to work. Got creatives down the bottom. They're like, what are we going to make the VP say today? Why does the VP look like Lincoln? You know?
That's where the real frozen heads are.
That's where the real frozen heads are. I'm not saying kill the executives. I'm not saying that at all. Put them in one of the rides or whatever, dress them up as a pirate, give them a job, and then let the creatives actually do what creatives are supposed to do. Make money. Instead of fighting executives who think they know how to make money.
Well, a slight tangent off of our subject here, but still kind of relevant to the matter. Mitchell's versus the Machines.
Oh God, that is so good.
That's
what I mean. That you look at that and you just go like, that is. I'm not going to be like, it's so original, there's nothing else like it, but it was a good, solid freaking movie.
Yeah, let me find it real quick. Because I told you about it a while back ago, but I actually found it now to see if I can find it again. One of the main writers and designers for the movie, and her fight to get Katie to be gay in the movie.
Again, it should not have even been an issue, because it just all it did was add to the story. It just made the character, and it was Here we go. Why is this even a problem anymore? I don't even understand.
Yeah, one of the artists of the movie, she's also gay. She wrote a letter to the execs and stuff at Sony when they were working on it, and I'm going to probably leave a couple parts out just for the sake of time, but she says, it starts out, when I came out in the late 90s, I understood that I would only be safe if I remained relatively quiet about who I was and made sure I didn't hold hands with my partner when I was in public. When I met my fiancé in 2014, I understood that we could only get kinda married through a ceremony that would only be valid in California. When I started working in animation, I understood that I would never be able to work on a film with characters that represented who I was.
Yep.
I made a sad peace with each of these facts while working to bring about a world in which they were no longer true. This is a chance that I cannot pass up, a chance to have a film represent a part of myself that I assumed would always have to be hidden from feature animation. I threw my heart and soul into working on this film as a visual development artist. It would be nothing short of life-changing to be able to say I worked on the first major animated feature with a queer main character.
Yep. She's such a good character.
I want to be a part of that movie and of a studio who was on the right side of history. And then let's get through a couple parts. And then she says at the end of that, we do not want to silence ourselves for fear of a bigoted few. We don't want to cave to their worldview. We have to be on the side of what is right and just. We just need the backbone to do so, or to do it. Be that backbone. And she signs her name, and then she says, P.S. I'm really scared, but use my name anyway because this is worth fighting for.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I wonder how would Star be if she mastered chaos magic?
Chaos. Is that referring to the magic that was that her great.
I believe so.
Would that be her great grandmother, aunt? It's her great aunt. Excuse me. Because Eclipsa was before her mother. because Eclipsa was the daughter of the first queen, right?
I think so.
Yeah, Solara. So yeah, Solara, then Eclipsa, and then it went all the way down the line to Moon, who then had Star. So,
Well, it's the thing is, the show seemed to symbolically use magic to kind of represent what a character was like.
right.
Down to the point of when somebody held the wand changed to
Yeah.
like sort of like what they would carry.
Yeah, which I like that aspect.
Yeah, and so I'm kind of going like I'm kind of thinking that that could just like not work. Like, because she's so clearly like the maddest she ever got, she was never like that. You know, it seems like it's one of those things where there's a reason why she was like squirting glitter covered narwhals at people. You know that it
she was.
is it just it seems to me I'm not sure that it could really happen and the character remain the character.
I mean, because I think the closest we got was with a spider with a top hat.
Yeah, that was like,
magic gun,
and that was like the
gun.
most powerful thing she had, which was like super powerful,
Magic
but
Gatling
really,
gun.
really ridiculous and clearly not totally lethal.
Right. Well, lethal enough. I mean, it cleared out that entire room.
And the reason why I say that I don't think she could is she not only didn't practice the most serious stuff, she was the one that ended it. She was the one that just was like, no, we have to stop this stuff.
Right.
We can't be using magic anymore. It's not right. And so that's why I'm kind of like, I don't think she could. I think that she, by
sheer personality,
the nature of the character, yeah.
She wasn't like that, yeah. Let's see, Joe says, I was just thinking that her aunt Eclipsa wasn't evil per se. She was a person in love who did what she could do to save everyone. It was like Eclipsa was constantly misunderstood for her choice, and her mom was the evil one for not being sympathetic.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Eclipsa's at most a rebellious gothy type, like a British gothy type. At most. Like she clearly doesn't mind ticking people off by going off and marrying a size-changing demon king.
Well, was he a demon or was he a monster?
Monster, you know what I mean.
Okay. I didn't know if there was a difference in the show. I couldn't remember.
I don't think they're...
No, there was a difference because Tom was a demon.
Yeah, but they also said he was a monster too,
That's
so...
true, yeah. But yeah, I mean, and it's funny. I appreciate the fact that they threw us for the loop. They gave us the old red herring on that one because we thought for sure that Eclipsa was going to be the bad girl or the bad guy, well, bad girl. And no, it turns out everyone that was thinking that were good, they were thinking that they were right for all the wrong reasons and stuff. But yeah, and it's just like, no, Eclipsa just wanted her hubby back and wanted to be there with her kid, and she had a chance to re-raise her kid again, which that right there is a pretty deep psychological tell, because it's like how many parents wish that they could re-raise their child to have a decent relationship with them, you know? So I was like, that's kind of deep.
Well, there was just a lot of neat stuff in that show where if you look at it on the baseline level, it's just sort of a silly thing. But then you take a re-look at it, you go, well, actually, that's a neat idea.
Yeah.
You know, and then they would go back later and approach most of those ideas again and make them even neater. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, when they aged up Marco's little sister and the Eclipsa's daughter. Yes, Eclipsa's daughter. I'm blanking on her name. Let me look that up. For whatever reason, Maricino came into my mind, but I know that's not right. I know for a fact that's not right. Whatever. Well, they aged them up partially, turned them into these like apocalypse girls. Meteora. I had the M right. Yeah, I even had it capitalized in my head. Yeah, and I mean, that whole thing with her, she became because she was the headmaster of that horrible school. Yep. And it's like, that whole thing was, I want to go back and rewatch that entire thing, because I think I missed some stuff with how, I missed some tells
with her going into that. So when we do rewatch, I'm gonna pay better attention because I think I even fell asleep a couple times because I was so tired when we were watching it.
Yeah, well.
But yeah, like that whole thing was just like, because again, you thought Miss Heinous was going to be a bad guy, and it just turns out again she was just, I hate to say it, raised wrong. Is that the way? Or is that she just missed her mom or something like that?
She had problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had problems.
Joe said the reform school and the whole Princess Marco stuff. Yeah, because she was just so hardcore.
Princess Tardina. Tardina. Yeah, I can get rid of that. I don't like that. Trying to get too complicated. Boom. Got rid of that dumb thing I was doing. Okay.
So yeah, Star's pretty. Her design's pretty simple, yeah, but it's pretty cute too. The one part I was like, oh, when she got sad and her little hearts on her face broke, I was like, oh. I'll do my girl like that, man. and then the frown that was on her face too just went all the way
Oh
down.
my god, yeah. Some of the facial expressions on the show were great. That like it was just this perfect. It's so funny.
With the broken hearts, I was like, oh, that was so funny.
So
I was like,
funny.
Oh.
All right, what time we got? Okay, I need to be making dinner soon. Unfortunately, that ain't bad.
No, it looks good.
All right.
Yeah, you're getting better doing the simpler stuff.
Okay, so not even sure if this is working. Like nobody signs up for the newsletter, but I will keep trying.
Just keep going for it. All we can do.
Yeah. So, okay, the thing that ain't working, but I'm just going to be freaking stubborn. Do you want a schedule of upcoming episodes and links to missed episodes sent to your email? Then go to ... Super Secret Project X /Eric Art and sign up for my newsletter at the bottom of the page. And
We're back.
and we're doing we're coming on back. We're coming on back. We are coming on. Yeah, exactly right. And this is, I swear I didn't know. This is probably a kiss that's illegal in some countries.
Oh goodness.
So I'm just gonna get a little clean up here. There's all right. So as is tradition, when I seal my sketchbook closed with a character upon each page, sealed eternally in a demented, extraordinarily blonde kiss. There's a lot of blonde happening here. There's a lot of questionably aged blonde happening here. At least I didn't put like Raoul from Fist of the North Star or something over here. That would have been like pure mess.
And we've had a few of those before.
We've had a couple of those. We did. But yes, Seiko.
Weird.
Seiko. Kotobuki Seiko. Star Butterfly.
Do it.
Sealed together eternally.
Oh.
And a weird golden-haired kiss. There we go. Just
Tonight, I am a man.
today, I am a man. I'm now certain. You know what? There's the internet. I bet it has already been done. It's slightly unlikely, but entirely possible that has already been done. I know. Thank you. Do my best. Do my best. He's still laughing. That's awesome. At least I assume that it's just it's either that or it's at home just go to L M A O return. I'm assuming he's actually laughing. Anyways, thank you for joining us, and have yourself a good week. And by the way, we have a little personal business to do. Is it next week?
We'll be in, but we probably won't be. Will we
Anyways, third. I think it's the third Sunday this month.
Yes.
We are not going to be doing this live stream.
Yes.
But this is our Star versus the Forces of Evil month. So next week is Princess Tardina, and then we have our day off, and then after that it's Jenna. So we could talk about all the what is wrong with this character stuff, which is a lot. There's so much wrong with her. Anywho.